Okay, I was asked this fun question on what the weather and spirituality. Um, for me, there's a lot of different significance to the weather and spirituality, and I've actually had my own miracle. I was really, I really was happy to be asked this question because actually one of my most inspiring miracles I witnessed in my life was to do with the weather, and I virtually never share it in the groups. I don't think I've ever shared it in the groups, so or at least not on video. Um, Probably have mentioned it off video. Okay, so the weather. So Hawkins talks about, I mean, it's totally, I mean, to the average person who's committed to science, I mean, they wouldn't believe it, or committed to atheism, they wouldn't believe it. So Hawkins visited a tribe of Indians, native Indians in America, and they did a rain dance, and it hadn't rained for, I don't know, months or wherever. It was like in the middle of there was no clouds in the sky. There'd been no rain, and they all came out to do a rain dance with, I don't know, the medicine man or the elders or whatever. And they did the dance, and they all brought umbrellas with them, the elders, which was hilarious. And it started to rain. I think this cloud suddenly came out of nowhere and started to rain just on the crops. Uh, that is the spectacular, miraculous. I mean, there is the thing on the Old Testament and Moses and parting of the Red Sea. Some of the films do that poetically. Um, Hawkins has mentioned this is not the weather, but Jesus Christ had all the miracles that he performed calibrate as true. So whatever it was, the 33 miracles, they actually did occur. And he does sort of say that that was necessary at the time of Jesus Christ to, because just to show that he was who he said he was, as Hawkins' research came out, he didn't have any prior incarnations. He did come straight from heaven. So hence, the Christian thing of he's the Son of God. Whereas Buddha and Hawkins had many past lifetimes. So, the spectacular is also, weather can also be a demonstration that God can use to those who disbelieve. Are you who disbelieve in God and aligning yourself with God or Jesus Christ? See the miraculous. So the weather can be used in that way. I do remember Mel Gibson, The Passion of the Christ, when he was up on the cross, the lightning struck the cross, the actor. That was really interesting. I thought, how the weather was there. And I'll share my own experience on the weather, which I think I've never shared on video before, and all the most amazing things. So it was in my early days where I was getting a lot of spectacular spiritual experiences. I was going to, people may know it in London, the Hale Clinic, famous place for therapy, healing modalities and therapies and things, and the esoteric stuff. And they've got a little health food shop, which I'd visited because I was really into health supplements at the time. And, it was a day of like spectacular miracles for some reason. No idea. Don't ask me why all these spectacular miracles were happening. Anyway, I came out of onto Great Portland Street, so people in London will know what I'm talking about. And I was walking down, and it was a kind of misty rain, and then suddenly, I mean, I just share my experience. I mean, you can calibrate it if you don't believe me, but it felt like like the top of my head spiritually was taken off, and it was like electricity or kundalini or whatever it was shooting up my body into a state of ecstasy. And it felt like in my mind's eye, like there was like ecstasy or lightning shooting up my body and out of my head into the sky. And it was the most intense ecstasy experience. I mean, it's wonderful. I mean, it was like it's better than anything in this world. It was just like absolutely. I mean, I can't describe it. It's like lightning or electricity or pure bliss. Not bliss, ecstasy is the right word. Ecstasy beyond ecstasy. Yeah, and then it felt like in my mind's eye it was just going up through my body and into the heavens. It was wonderful. I mean, I just died there and been in heaven. And then suddenly it just stopped. And I was really, it was like to my ego, it's like, oh, I would rather that carried on. Anyway, that was the first miracle that day. I'll come on to the weather bit. And I was just walking down. I love pigeons. I don't often share about on video, but I love pigeons. I feed pigeons. I brought reared baby pigeons up. I've looked after disabled pigeons. I just have unconditional love for all pigeons. And I usually have a bag of pigeon food. People who know me probably know me will know. I do carry a bag of pigeon food. I had a bag of pigeon food on me, and which is wheat and corn, the good stuff. Not bread is not good stuff for pigeons. And suddenly my eye caught. I looked up into the buildings. There was all these high-rise buildings, and I saw this bedraggled, wet pigeon on a ledge, and it was raining. It was miserable. I saw it was shivering, and it was up against the windowsill. To me, I thought probably it's starving and it's wet and it's probably going to die soon. And I felt like something in my heart. Well, I do for all pigeons anyway. So I just and I have I often have a psychic connection. I know this is sounding weird. I have a psychic connection with pigeons. I can communicate with a lot of them. I mean, some of them I can't, but I can just psychically talk to them. Talk to them is the wrong word, communicate with them. So I looked at the pigeon up on the ledge, and I sort of intentionally looked at it and said, look, come down. I'm putting some pigeon food on the floor. Come down and eat the food. This is for you. So I looked at the pigeon up on the thing, and this was just after the ecstasy thing. And I looked at the pigeon, and the pigeon, and I put the food on Great Portland Street on the pavement, and the pigeon immediately sort of got the psychic link and came down. And as it came down, it's like it was raining and cloudy. Suddenly, the clouds parted, and a ray of sunlight came down onto the street, onto where the pigeon was about to eat, and me. And it was absolutely, I mean, it was one of the most incredible miracles I've ever witnessed in my life. It was a miracle. I mean, it was like it's cloudy, it's raining, and then suddenly I look at this pigeon. There's some love in my heart, and the pigeon psychically comes down to eat the food I put on the floor for it, as I felt compassion for it. And then suddenly the clouds parted, and a ray of sunlight came. It was beyond the movie. I mean, it was stunningly miraculous. So yes. So I think these miracles do occur. Hawkins did mention the tornadoes in America, where a woman surrendered to God and she went into a calibration 600 state, and mystically she was put down in a haystack safely. So these are like all the weather stuff, and I think yeah, of course, if God wants to, then the most spectacular weather miracles can. If you're in alignment with God's will, a channel of God's love at the highest level, then weather miracles can occur for different reasons. For safety, to protect you in a storm, for as a convincer, to show other people that you are a representative of God's message. The weather can be used also for crops, practical stuff like we're Indians, we haven't got, we're going to starve. Please, God, we need some rain on our crops, and God can do that if your devotional is correct. So that's the weather. I think that was a fun question. Thank you for asking it. I was grateful because I don't normally share that miracle in the group. So I'll stop